this is my kind of review of the Nest smart thermostat. There's the core part of the thing itself, called the display. And what do you get in the box? There's the box. Well, you get the thermostat or display. You get a back plate or a wall plate to cover up your old thermostat if you want to. You get a base for the thermostat, and you also get the box that connects, and you can see a wire there that connects it to your central heating boiler, and up there you'll see a Worcester Bosch Combi central heating boiler that it's connected to. So this has already been installed, but what I've done is just pulled it apart again to some extent, just so that I can talk you through it, because it's not clear from some of the adverts what you actually get in the box. So the thermostat is the bit that controls or used to set the temperature, and that box there basically has a couple of high power relays in it, a couple of mains rated relays to do the switching of your heating and of your hot water if you needed to switch the hot water. So that receiver part there does the switching and the power function controls, and has got mains voltage going into it down those wires. They call it the display, is the main part of the Nest. It says to use the thermostat, attach the display to its base. So that will not work without the base. I was interested to see, well, what is there about the base, because it's got a small 20-way connector on the back, which is what plugs into the back of the thermostat. But the thermostat also has a sort of USB charging port on it as well. And I wondered whether you could use the thermostat without the base just by plugging power into the charging port up there. And the answer is no. The base is an integral part of the functioning, as it's telling us on there, of the thermostat. And I've done this so you don't have to do it. If you look inside the base, you get quite a bit of electronics, and there's the 20-way connector. There's a little blue spirit level, that's the USB port. The two terminal screws are for your 12 volt supply if you did it on 12 volts. So I'll say a little bit more about that. Now that then would give you everything to wire it in and get the system up and running. But you would be using a 12 volt output from here, which would travel down your old thermostat wires from the what they call the base, what they call the heat. What do they call that? They call it I think they call it the heat base, and they call this the back plate, right? So I get confused. Look it up, but that thing, the heat base, which is the thing that's essential to control that, gives out or supplies 12 volts, and you can use your old wired in thermostat wires to supply 12 volts to that, and then that 12 volts powers the whole system, and the thermostat is fixed to the wall with screws through there, and you know, all the other things that you need to kind of fix it to the wall, and you plug the thermostat on and that's it. But let me reiterate, this display will not work unless it's attached to the base. You can't even program it, you can't set it, you can't do anything with it unless it's attached to the base. It needs that electronics in the base to function. An optional accessory, which I got bundled with mine, is something called the stand. And what's included with the stand is a nice stand, quite weighty, rubber base, and a power cord, which quite an interesting design of plug there. It's a standard USB plug there, and this. And what you need to do to make the stand functional is fasten the back plate onto the stand, and then the display will fit onto the back plate. The reason I'm saying that is, I'm just looking at the lighting, is because it's not possible easily to transfer the thermostat from the wall to the stand. Okay, so let me just say that a second time. Because it will not function without the backplate, if you attach it to the wall, you screw the backplate to the wall and the thermostat goes on top. If you wish to use it on a stand, you have to unscrew the backplate from the wall, disconnect the two wires there, which are from the 12 volt supply, and then attach the backplate to the stand with a couple of machine screws which are included, and then you can put the display onto the stand. I've been using it on the stand because it gives me flexibility as to where I put it in the house. Also aids testing because it meant I could wire it up. Well, I didn't need to wire it up or attach anything to a wall, just plug it to the stand. So I think the stand is a good accessory. It would be useful if you knew or could find out where you could get a spare backplate. The only issue then would be the reliability of the 20-way connector on the back. That's that, because that's what you're plugging and unplugging then to transfer it from the wall to the stand. And I haven't found where you can get the backplate on its own for a third generation. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm very pleased with it. So the construction quality is good. That's got stainless steel surround. It's good and heavy. The construction of the stand itself is good. I'm very happy with it. It's installed. The construction of the power relay receiver, called a heat base, I believe, is good. That all went together. There is an instruction book in here, which it cannot possibly cover every situation for installation. It's enough to give an installer who knows what he's doing a guide as to how it would go together. I've done an installation video, but don't trust YouTube, don't trust me, I'm saying, don't trust anybody, only trust yourself and think your way through it, always with YouTube how-to videos. I'm giving that as a caveat, particularly if there are regulations which say you need to have a fully qualified installer, get a fully qualified installer. But there is an instruction booklet which takes you part way through setting this up. The rest of it is easier if you download an app. Final thing, it's a Google device. How come Google, right? We know it's been bought in the UK. They've got a UK plug on it. It's so USA centric. And when I was looking for prices of these things, the Google search pulled up prices in pounds of discounted items. It suggested it was free postage. When you click on it, you go to a site which actually has the thing available in dollars. It's an American site with £50 delivery charge. It wasn't free postage, was it? How thick is Google? I'm saying that because it's supposed to know everything about us. And if you put this in, it probably knows what temperature you've got your home set to. It's been bought in the UK. How come it doesn't know it's been bought in the UK? How come when you're setting it up, it's all about USA, USA, USA? So it's just a beef that all this stuff you say yes to a whole list of conditions that it needs before the app and other things install, where you're saying I agree to this, and yet it can't even work out that you're in the UK. And when you do a Google search, it knows exactly where I am. It comes up with stuff that's been sold in America, not the UK. That's enough of a boof about it. I like it. It works well. I wish the stand, £200 for that bit, that lot, about £35 for the stand. But I wish the stand came with a separate back plate, or you could get a separate back plate as an accessory, and you could see where you could buy one, so that you could mount the back plate into the stand and truly transfer the display from being wall mounted to being that. In my installation I'll say a little bit more, because that's the Wi-Fi device, or these two together are Wi-Fi when they're working together. That is connected to this by some RF home control frequency. This is not connected to Wi-Fi as far as I can tell, so you can't control that without the thermostat. The thermostat does the controlling and it's got all the Wi-Fi connection in there, as far as I know. Okay, hopefully that has been helpful and helps you to understand what you get in the box. And as I say, it works very well for me once you've sorted a few things out. See the installation video if you've gone to guide as to starting it yourself or just get an installer.